Okay, let's kick off another episode today of Vancouver Subculture Living, Van Sub Life, and today I'm joined with my good friend James Lolong, also known as Hoot. And how do you spell that, James?
That's a hoot with two zeros.
Okay, in case anyone needed to spell unless
Because
that's
I'm creative. Like
yeah, like where did that name originate?
See, a lot of my friends will know this. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of Black Hawk Down, and there was one character. I think it was Eric Bana's character. He was like part of the Delta Force. His nickname was Hoot. But the reason why it popped up again is because I ended up getting an owl tattoo. It's because I love owls so much.
And I know I imagine that from what you've told me that holds a lot of meaning.
Yes.
Very significant. I mean, you don't just
No.
ink your body for no reason.
No. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if
I
it's
agree.
your body at the end of the day, but yeah, no, mine was I really liked owls as a kid, and the island my parents are from in Indonesia, North Sulawesi, specifically Manado. I guess the owl is like a huge symbol for them. So I figured, that's kind of cool. I like that. I've always liked owls again. So
Yeah, that's good. Carrying your heritage with you in one form or another. It's commendable, and especially
exactly.
when you commit to it, you're putting this on your body.
Oh yeah, it's like a shirt you could never ever take off, right?
Yeah, and it's like you wear it with pride, like you own it, right?
I do.
So yeah, I mean, I've known you since before we were born, technically,
Yep.
which is quite a long time. So I mean, my usual go-to would be like, how long have you, have you lived in Vancouver? But it'd be all your life.
Pretty much my entire life. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess
Well, technically I live in Richmond now, but yeah, I still live in Vancouver.
the greater Vancouver area, again, like I say, it's a very vague umbrella term. Um, very many borders, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, municipalities. But for the sake of this argument, greater Vancouver area.
Yeah. No, it is Vancouver.
You're clearly like a Van boys, right? Van City boy.
Oh yeah, raised in East Van, so.
Oh yeah, see there you go.
I always walk with my hands in my pocket, but in a fist form.
Oh, is that a?
That's one of the running jokes. Anyone, at least some of my buddies that I work with from that grew up or still live in East Van. It's like when you're in high school, that was the thing. You'd walk around. It's like from Thor. It's like a wise king never seeks war, but must always be prepared. For,
Thor 1.
I think so. I know they mentioned it again in Ragnarok.
Which is the most important one.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it is. I mean, we don't actually, but it just sometimes was a running joke. Like in high school, you'd walk with your hands in your pockets, but it being in a fist formation. So in case somebody tried to mug you, you could just lift your pocket up or lift your hand out. You'd already be ready to fight or something. But
keep in mind, this was like back when we were in high school, and I don't know how much has changed since then.
Oh, I never fought in high school. All my fighting was done, I guess, when I in minor hockey. That's how I got my aggression out.
Okay.
Because it was like somewhat
an outlet.
More acceptable in ice hockey than it was to just not like. I mean, I knew everyone in my neighborhood in East Van, so I never really had to worry about getting mugged or anything like that. Like I lived in probably one of the more civilized area of East Van.
So could you describe like? I mean, I guess you kind of did, but like, describe East Van as like an area, a city, a community.
Definitely an area of the city. Pretty much, like technically, it's anything east of Ontario Street because that's when street numbers change or the directions change where 49th becomes East 49th instead of West 49th. But yeah, it's definitely an area. I would say there is somewhat of a community, but more so if you know people. There's certain things I feel that only people who grew up in East Van would be able to understand compared to people that grew up on the west side, like Kits or across the bridge over in North Van or actual West Vancouver. But more so not because it's. I mean, a lot of the things it's just. I really don't know how to explain it. There's like some kind of form of like this East Van pride. It's
so you would see or perceive some kind of form of segregation.
Not necessarily, because obviously, as I got older, even in high school, like I made friends. Like I mean, I didn't actually go to school on the east side. My parents purposely put me in a west side school, but I still played hockey with the east side guys. So there was segregation, or not segregation. I won't word it like that.
A differentiation.
Yeah.
Worlds apart.
Like, there was definitely territorial.
Okay.
Especially with hockey, like the hockey team I played for was they're called Vancouver Spirit now, but they were called just Vancouver Minor Hockey Association, and it was essentially a majority of it was East Van, and then our rivals were the Vancouver Thunderbirds, which is interesting because the Thunderbirds actually did cover some East Van territory.
Okay.
So we would have some friends that we knew, but there were other teams we knew, like they were pure West Side kids. We'd be playing on the near Point Grey at Kerrisdale Arena, and there was always this like, yeah, we're East Van, we're dirty, and we're gonna like throw elbows at you. And we did get chirped by some North Van. Like they would used to call us, again, not every team, but like, the occasional chirp from the Thunderbirds were like, oh, like you guys are in like Bumtown or something.
Wow. Okay.
But again,
trash talk at its finest.
It's trash talk, but it's like, again, we're like anywhere between the ages of 13 and 18, so
yeah.
But no, that was the closest I ever felt in terms of like that whole East Side West Side rivalry. Aside from that, there's an East Side mentality, there's a West Side mentality, but at the end of the day, even when I was in high school, like I really could care less if you grew up on the West Side. It was more so if you were a chill person and we got along, then why find a reason, right?
Yeah, I imagine most people in the city are relatively civilized.
Oh yeah,
obviously there's like lots of different kinds of people in the city, and you never know who you run into. But I would say for the most part, Vancouver's pretty safe. Would you say? Relatively speaking, like let's say.
Yeah, you know what? Compared to most cities, at least. I haven't traveled a whole lot, but I'm basing this off tourist experience because you run into a lot of tourists in my line of work, and it's what some. I'm not knocking on the States, but it's always the American tourists that come. They're like, "Is there a part of town I should stay away from? Like, what streets?" And I'm kind of like,
which is understandable.
It is, and I'm like, you know what?
From where they're from.
Exactly. Like when I go to LA, I know not to go down Skid Row just because it's Skid Row. But if anything, as long as you're not walking down through downtown East Side, the downtown East Side is definitely its own, like its own thing. Like
its own entity.
It is. There you go. That's the word I was looking. It's its own entity. It's funny because I've fed the homeless in that area.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of sort of sidetracking, but it is one of those experiences.
It's part of the city community.
It is, but like that being said, being able to feed them, and we did bagged lunches.
Right.
It really. Not that I didn't think of them as being human or anything, but in my head it was like these people are homeless. These are the downtown East Side folk. But
they live in a different world than other people would.
They do, and it was touching because you still see they were very grateful. A lot of them, I was 18 at the time, and they were like, you kids,
really?
like you shouldn't be in this part of town. Like, but they meant that in a way where it's like.
For your own safety.
For our own safety, like, because we were walking through alleys, like not just the main streets, and that, for me, the main streets I already like. I'll drive through, but I'll never like. I always hesitate. I don't like walking through, and that's just the main streets. So that said, again, we went through alleys, in the daytime, of course.
Yeah,
but
if you think Vancouver is like 100% safe.
Yeah.
Well, of course, anywhere could be like that. Relatively safe. Of course, there are places where they're best not to trod.
Yeah.
But Vancouver has those kind of patches, right?
Yeah, and even like one of the things like people, not I'm saying everyone thinks this, but like it's one of those things too where, for example, one of the guys he's like, "Can I have 2 bagged lunches?" And we were kind of at first we're like, "Oh man, like we're supposed to make these last," because we definitely ran out. We didn't have enough to go all the way for everyone, but
okay.
I looked at my youth group leader and he was just like, just give it to him. So we gave 2 to him. We gave 2 to him. We watched him walk back, and he ended up giving it to 2 other kind of, I think they were weaker, or they were probably just passed out or sleeping, but these other 2 homeless ladies that looked like they were in worse condition than him, and he actually gave the 2 bags to them.
Wow.
He walked off, and I remember we went back, we're like, wait, do you want one for yourself? And he's like, I'm good, I can handle my own food, it's these ladies that can't.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just seeing that, obviously, with like all groups that anyone belongs to, like, you look after each other.
Yeah, and that's also part of their community as well, right?
It is, and that was really cool. And I know there's like some, like with some of the homeless people were talking about, they were saying, of course, there's some of those bad guys, like, we're just here trying to live, right?
Yeah, trying to live or get by.
So,
people do look after each other. There's tons of communities like support each other for that kind of thing, and that's part of the part of the reason this podcast is to help connect people.
Connect, yeah, no, that's good.
You know, to give an idea of people who might not, you know, have an idea of what is out there in Vancouver, whether you're in the city and you just, you know, don't know who to talk to or where to go, you know, or if you're just thinking about moving here, or if you know, or wherever you're listening to. It's about connecting people to other people, you know, different perspectives.
Yeah, no, and again too, like with being in Vancouver and whatnot, there's obviously I try to live by this rule. It's like you can't judge a place or anything in general off one experience. Because I remember there was one lady, she was her first time in Vancouver, and she absolutely hated it because what happened, she just happened to run into the worst people, I guess. Like apparently she was telling us she got
all kinds of people in the city.
She got pushed on the sidewalk. She got into a fight over a parking spot at Granville Island.
Of course.
Where police apparently had to get involved. I think it was like some guy almost hit her or something.
Oh my goodness.
And she was from New York, and she had no shame in being like, I don't care what people say about Canadians being polite. Like, this is the worst experience. I'm never coming here again. And she said that to me and a friend who clearly grew up here. I mean, I was a little honest with her. I'm like most cities, you're going to find those pricks.
Right.
And like every city has its bad people, right? No matter where you go.
Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of people living everywhere.
But I'm almost
Vancouver
certain.
Especially.
Oh yeah, no, with Vancouver. I mean, it's so diverse here. But my friend and I were pretty sure she had walked by like downtown. You're like a bad part of Gastown.
It's quite possible.
Because Gastown's really nice, and then literally you cross the street and you're in the downtown east side already, right?
Yep.
And I think that's why. And then that brings up something with in Vancouver. That's what the Granville Island thing. I love Vancouver, but we have the absolute worst drivers. I think definitely, I want to say in the country.
Okay.
I'm going to say, like, in North America, I want to say probably the worst driving in North America in general.
Okay.
Maybe BC in general, because I know I've seen videos of, like, Chilliwack, what happens on the street there, but...
In the Fraser Valley.
But my cousin came down here from LA, and he was saying, California driving is the worst, apparently, in the States. And he came over here, and he said, holy crap, you guys are way worse than we are. Because it's funny, because every time I go to California... That's the one place I don't get road rage for two reasons. Because everyone, even though they'll speed, they're skilled enough to be able to weave through traffic. So they'll signal. They won't cut you off, or at least I've never had that experience. I've driven in LA many times. Like I try to go there at least maybe once or twice a year.
Okay.
But every time I go to LA, I feel like, for two reasons. It's like I get road rage because people don't know how to drive, and also, people have guns in the States. So if I do have an issue, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know if that's too soon considering the shooting, but. That just happened a few days ago, but that's one of the things my friend and I were laughing about. We're like, oh yeah, we told her like Vancouver has terrible drivers. I'm sure you had the right of way, and this driver was probably just being a dick.
Yeah, I think it also kind of brings in. A part of that could be in Vancouver. There's like a really huge, polarity in terms of people here. Like you have the really, really kind people on the street who will just help you, for no apparent reason and get by. Yeah. On the other hand, you also have like people from different backgrounds, coming from different places of the world. Yeah. And imposing their will.
Different social backgrounds too. I mean.
Yeah.
Not to do that typical rich versus poor and like like rich. No, because don't get me wrong. I mean.
Probably exists. Probably. Maybe.
Yeah, like in
neither confirm nor deny.
In my line of work, there's certain clients we deal with that are clearly they're making six figures, and like I said before, like everywhere, any category you find, you're gonna find the best and the worst. So for these people, it's like they're that they're rich, but like they're incredibly kind, and then of course you get the ones that are a little bit snobby. But it's like that even with people that don't make as much income.
Again, it all comes up. There's lots of different kinds of people.
Yes.
And hopefully, I get as many people as I can to make informed decisions for people out there listening to this podcast. I mean, let's keep that.
People should be more, if anything, like a general statement is, I think people, it's nothing new, obviously. I think people should be more considerate, and that would make everyone else's lives a lot easier.
I would totally promote that, I would plug that in. So just moving on, talked about Vancouver quite a bit. So you lived here all your life because you're born here. Right?
Yeah, and it's my home, right?
Since ever. How was growing up in Vancouver? Like as a kid, Going through school, high school, education, university. What did you think? Like, how did... I don't know. Just tell me your experience so far.
I think I had a pretty awesome childhood. The neighborhood I grew up in was Champlain Heights. Pretty much spent my entire life there up until maybe 2 years ago when I moved out to Richmond. But it was a nice community. I've obviously met a lot of good people. Definitely got sucked into the typical culture in Vancouver. Vancouver in general, my parents immigrated, or not even immigrated. I mean, my dad, obviously took a job here with a consulate, but they were smart in terms of raising my sisters. They wanted to obviously keep us rooted with our background,
right?
But because they were 100% sure we were going to pretty much live here until live the rest of our days out here, at least for my parents.
Right.
So they were smart, and they enrolled me in hockey, or before they even enrolled me in hockey, they bought me the Mighty Ducks VHS, because they're like, okay, what do Canadian kids like? Hockey. And what do Canadian girls like? Oh, okay, figure skating. So my sister got into figure skating. For me, they bought me the Mighty Ducks. It was just as planned. Yeah, and it went well because I saw the Mighty Ducks movie, and I was like, I want to play hockey right now.
And we can talk about that more a little bit later down the road. Hockey being a big part of life since it was almost ingrained into you, but even to now, you still find some kind of passion, connection to the sport,
of course,
to the industry, to the But continue on with high school, middle school, high school.
Yeah, no, I went to high school on the west side, and that's where it really kind of helped bridge the gap, because prior to that, I really only knew my own neighborhood and the friends there. Aside from family friends, obviously I knew you from before.
Yeah, so before we were born.
Yeah, so I knew what was what New West was like, and
the different municipalities, Burnaby.
But no, I started relatively the culture. I grew up with so many different kinds of people from the west side. Kids that came from immigrant backgrounds. And so
it's a real melting pot here in Vancouver. Eh?
It is. But the thing is, it's every kid. I had that thing too with my friends where their parents came from other countries. We all had that kind of bond, or it's Asian things or immigrant parent things. Things
that gotta stick together, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's for us, it's the only life we knew really at the time was the North American life, the traditional Westerner style, where there were times where we come into clash with our roots, just because we're from wherever our parents were coming. There's clashing cultures, right?
For sure, no questions there.
But that's high school. I never really. Everything was smooth. The high school I went to, I never dealt with anything super serious like racism or anything like that. Prejudice. Really, I mean, I was aware of it and I knew it was going around in other schools, but at least the school I went to, everyone just seemed to get along. My friends, my core group of friends that I've had since high school, they're like the United Nations. There's one person for each country.
See, there you go. So, all kinds of people in Vancouver. That's gonna be the message for one of them, anyways.
Yeah. And same with university. You meet more people motivated to learn more, of course.
I wish they kind of told us that before you enroll. You get a good job at the university, but really it's more of a pursuing education.
Yeah, and that's the thing I always forget. It's I saw a Reddit post too. It's most kids cheat in university because they value grades over learning, which is true.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
yeah, realistically, I remember I heard somebody told me this, where they said, if you want a job and you want to go straight into the working force, you go to BCIT to get ready to work.
It's trades.
Yeah, it's trades, right?
British Columbian Institute of Technology. Just gonna plug that.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And then whereas they're if you want to go to a school University of British Columbia, UBC, or SFU, Simon Fraser University,
which is where we went.
Yeah, that's where you go to university to learn knowledge and stuff, right?
Well, I mean, a lot of super duper high end careers require you to have some kind of degree nowadays.
Exactly, but that said, a lot of people are just kind of more focused. I need to get my GPA, which is fair. You want to.
It is a different rat race.
It is, and but no, it's funny. I'm not going to model myself as I was never, at least for university, I'm not going to go off and say I was definitely not an A student, but I could have tried harder, but I still feel despite how long it took me to finish my degree, I'm finally done now, thank God. But
congratulations.
Thank you. I felt like I learned more from the people I met there in the school.
And I think that's definitely a part of it, of like the whole university experience. It's not just like you learning to be resourceful or studying harder or whatever, but also the connections you make in the institution that you go to. It's lifelong learning, really.
And don't get me wrong, like I'm not knocking on SFU. I know when I was going there, I was frustrated. Obviously, I would say
student life, man.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh man, I hate this school. It's so stupid. I have to go on the mountain.
It was a commute, wasn't it?
It was like Simon Fraser University. Is up on top of a hill in Burnaby.
For the Burnaby Mountain campus, yeah.
Yeah, like if it snowed, it's like good luck getting back down. Like you would have to probably sleep on campus, and if you didn't know anyone on campus, like. Too bad you're sleeping on like a bench today, like inside the student lounge or something.
That happened to you before?
No, I just didn't show up because I knew my class was going to get canceled, which it did, and then I found out some of my friends were still stuck up there, and but luckily for them, I think they knew some people on residence.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you get that kind of Vancouver weather where it snows, pretty bad sometimes.
Well, especially up at SFU.
Yeah, I mean it's a mountain, right? But like you said, that kind of thing can happen. So, want to go to SFU? Just be aware that might be a thing.
Yeah.
You have always the downtown campuses and the Surrey campus.
Again, like I did, to be fair to SFU, like I know I just said I learned more from the people there, but I learned a lot from the courses I took. And one thing that I definitely took from there is, my writing skills.
Okay.
I mean, for me, like I like to think a lot, obviously, or I mean, let me rephrase that. I get lost in my own thoughts. Like I don't know if anyone's like a Redditor here, but I like one of my favorite subreddits is the shower thoughts.
Okay, plug that.
Yeah.
R/.
R/ shower thoughts. So
no Super Bowel Heel.
No, he's straight in there. It's like, but yeah, no, I mean that's where I really learned. Like I took a philosophy course. It was required for criminology majors, which made sense. It was like you just learn basic arguing, how to write a paper and formulate your ideas, which really helped me in terms of like I feel like I've always been a very opinionated person, but still obviously open-minded. I mean, yes, I grew up in a religious family. I really lucked out with my church that I grew up in, that I still go to. Like they're very progressive and very open-minded.
Another community that helps support you.
Yeah. And that's why, some sidetracking again, but some people ask, they're like,
no worries.
They're like, how come you still go to church? No, I'm like, you know what? They've never given me a reason to leave. They've never, rules at least I've learned there, I've never had to act differently or against my own will because of something the church said.
You didn't feel like you were forced to be there?
No. And the people of the congregation, a lot of them that watched me grow up and still go there and attend with me now, like they've again, it comes down to they've never taught me to hate anything, and I have to respect that because hate is always taught, at least in my opinion.
Internet.
Yeah.
Hate everything with a prejudice.
Yeah. Right?
Even if you don't understand it.
Yeah, don't understand it. That's okay. Just hate on it. So yeah, I mean, in terms of again going back to going full circle with schooling. Again, I would have to take a stance on certain things, but it really helped me. At least going to SFU was nice to help me, or just
articulate better.
Help me articulate better. For example, with that philosophy course I had, to form a good argument. I mean, I'm breaking it down to really simple terms. I'm not going to go into too much detail. But
we could be here for days.
Yeah, no, right. English 101.
Yeah, there we go. Taught by Hoot.
Yeah. But no, really simple. Like we were taught to have we start off with really short essays, 500-word essays.
It doesn't sound like a lot.
No,
and it isn't.
No,
it really
isn't.
It's like, it really isn't.
I think that's only like 2 pages or something. Not
double
even. Double space.
Oh, 12-point font.
But it was easy. It's like you have your thesis, you make your point, you have an objection to your point, because obviously, the objection helps you be a little bit more open-minded. It helps you find weaknesses in your argument, but then you have a reply to that objection.
I mean, if you can't convince yourself, how can you convince others?
Exactly. It's like like you're preparing for something, but you're not going to assess any of your weaknesses, and everything has a weakness.
And that's a huge downfall for a lot of things, not just like in essay writing, but in terms of my own personal experiences with other things, which I'll probably elaborate on later. But when I was going through high school, like even grade 10, 11, 12, like there was always like essay writing. And I never understood the whole idea of like thesis and argue your points. It was like, this is stupid and boring. I just want to go outside and play with my friends, play video games. Like, this is dumb. right? But then when you form an opinion about things, it's like, wait, you're just like, you have at least like, okay, I think green ice cream is the best, and you should only eat green ice cream, right? But like that,
it's like, well, why though?
Like exactly, like what kind of claim is that? Like what evidence do you have, like to objectively versus subjectively say that things are better? Again, because subjectivity, it's pretty big. Like you just can't say, you just can't make bold claims.
No, I mean, again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can back up or bring up points,
objectively speaking,
and
which is rare.
You know what, like I, you know what, like in respect, because obviously at the end of the day, like I can't tell someone's opinion is wrong unless it's like a blatant like.
Well, the sky is red. Well,
Someone on
our planet. But on my planet, I see it as blue. I don't know.
But yeah, that's helped me because as I got older too, growing up in Vancouver, it's just at least the friends I make fun of it, or sorry, not make fun of, made friends with.
That's quite a departure.
Freudian slip there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, to be fair, like my friend, like just my friends, like we all chirp each other and make fun of each other.
Of course, a lot of friends. Yeah, of course.
But no, going back, it's just you realize how important that is, especially as you
to be able to argue.
Yeah.
In like a civil manner.
Yeah, like with some of my group of friends, like, well, not that we could argue, but obviously with a group of guys, especially, you can get different opinions. But it just kind of helps when we all went to college and stuff, and so it was actually easy to we were all, instead of fighting each other, we would formulate our arguments fairly well. So that,
in a civil manner.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to go to post-secondary for that, but I'm just saying that this is just my experience where I feel like I don't think I would have been able to. I wouldn't have reached out and looked at that for myself had I not gone to school. But again, that's just me.
Yeah, your mileage may vary. It is a skill, and it's part of growing up too, right?
And again, sorry, I'm trying to tie this back to Vancouver.
You don't have to. Again, this is a conversation, man.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. But it does have to be love in Vancouver because it could change city to city or even town to town. Like let's say we lived in like some middle of nowhere, like small town, it could be totally different. Where I feel like the mentality there is much more cohesive and everyone shares the same opinion. Whereas a big city like Vancouver, you can get so many different people with different opinions.
Narrow-minded as opposed to more open-minded, or
I won't go off and say I'm not saying that small towns are narrow-minded, but it's just you're gonna get a lot more. I feel like you're gonna get a lot more. You're gonna get much more different opinions in a bigger city, especially like again like there's already a split between there's like east side, west side, and just again you're bringing in a lot of immigrants, people coming from different backgrounds. So people are gonna, I won't say clash, but you're gonna get people that don't share the same views as you. But I like that. That's the more you know. Like knowledge is power, right? You get to see the world through other people's eyes.
Different perspectives, which is kind of what this podcast is about. Some people might love Vancouver, some people might hate it.
Yeah.
We all live here. So would you say you valued your education then by the end of the day?
Oh, of course I did. There's things that even like I'll talk about today that I'll remember from criminology, which I think is important. Like it's
which was your major, by the way?
It was criminology, but I eventually had to go down to general studies.
Okay.
I won't go into that today, but it's just long story short. I just really needed to finish my degree, and it was the easiest route to go through general studies because I pretty much already knew.
But I mean, by then it was just a declaration. Like you still have like the experience, education.
Oh, of course.
Times, like in criminology.
Of course,
right?
of course.
Knowledge you obtain is like you can't not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like for my upper division courses, I tried to take courses as closest to what interested me at the time was anything crime related,
right?
Or law related. Like I took labor law, I took education law. And those things that it's helped me out immensely, especially labor law, because I'm like, obviously, what am I going to do the rest of my life, or not the rest of my life, but majority of my life I'm going to be working. I might as well know what the rules are.
Exactly. That's a lot of things people don't know.
Exactly, and yeah, even being a crim major, you got to take psychology as well, criminal psychology. Even though it changed like halfway because they came out with the DSM-5, and I know that
I heard about that book.
Yeah, there was a lot of major changes. Again, I won't go into detail because I haven't looked at this stuff in I think maybe like 3 or 4 years.
But the knowledge is still there about like all these different topic and subject matter.
Yeah, no, of course. It's just but yeah, that's it. It's learning about that, like that's always it's always interested me. So
I'm
totally forgetting where I'm going with this now.
Vancouver education is pretty.
Oh yeah, did I value my education? So yes, I did. It's helped me understand myself better as well. Yeah, especially courses like psychology. And no, I didn't self-diagnose. Obviously, there were times where I was like, "Oh, I wonder if I'm a psychopath."
Well, I don't know. But let me check.
No, if anything, I'm so concerned myself. If anything, I'm almost certain I have ADD.
Hey, man.
I'm also a drummer, which definitely helps with that.
Music, big part of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Did I value my education? Yes, like high school and post-secondary, elementary school. Yeah, I definitely
knowledge, experience, people met.
Exactly.
Connections formed.
Any connection I made, whether it was through the textbook or through a teacher or through a peer, was valued 100%. Most of my history was learned pretty much through high school. Obviously, taking history and
they make you take social studies here,
and
it's important apparently.
Yeah. If anything, I wish I learned more about American history, which we sort of did in high school.
Did you take history 12?
I did.
Oh, so we did. Impressive.
Yeah, no,
I didn't even go down that route.
Yeah, no, I needed one more course that was a provincially examinable or whatever.
For university.
Yeah, so I was like...
We both took French 11, I believe.
Yeah, I had to take French 12 as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't take 12.
You went into sciences, though, so you probably had other science
courses. I did have science courses, yeah, I did.
I think I took French 12, History 12...
English, math.
Biology 12. And
English 12.
English 12, yeah,
the big four. Make you do that.
Which was, it's funny, because I remember I had to take the LPI. My friend actually, going back to the English provincial, one of my friends got 100%. But it's funny, on the LPI, I think it's rated out of, 6?
It is, yep.
He got 2 or something.
Wait, what?
No, my sister was telling me, she's like, people that are really good in English tend to, or people that are even more advanced than, clearly my friend
then it's required.
He was above the class, but he overthought the LPI, and the LPI is so simple.
I took a look at it, and it really is.
It is. It's really simple.
Like almost like reading comprehension on I don't want to say a 7th grade level, but it's like, if you're going to university, you should be able to do this much.
No, exactly. And I remember I was kind of pissed off even at 6. I was like, man, this is for ESL students. But no, it was funny because I got 5 out of 6. I got one of the highest out of everybody, and they're like, what the hell, how did James beat it? Not that it was stupid, but it was just like, everyone thought that we'd all be on the same level. And I just stood out because I was like, well, it was simple. And what my sister told me, she's like, do not overthink.
Don't overthink it.
Go with your gut instinct because that's what's going to be right. If you overthink it, you're going to start making up these own rules in your head, and then it's going to overcomplicate it. But
wow, that's some wise words. It's
oh yeah,
I think so too. So another big part of your life here in Vancouver, hockey. It's also a pretty big culture, subculture even.
Yeah.
In Vancouver, I don't know.
I would call it a hockey market for sure.
But the term subculture is very vague. It's a very umbrella term. It refers to lots of things. Anything. It's really one of those big topics. When you say hockey, actually no, hockey. What's that?
No, I was like, wee.
Yeah.
It's a huge cannabis culture.
Oh no, that's because it's super accessible now. Dispensaries everywhere, as opposed to
there's more dispensaries than Starbucks now. It's amazing.
No, really?
Or at least every block I walk down, I'm like, oh, dispensary.
Guys, that would be an amazing statistic.
I have nothing to back this up. This is just my personal experience, but I see.
No, I mean, you go downtown Vancouver, every block. It's
absolutely
abundant.
Every single block.
But so that's a subculture. But I'm not sure how you classify cannabis culture.
Yeah, no.
Not that I'm pushing it or anything. You have your own
zone. Everybody.
No, just because they're expensive.
But yeah, we'll go back to hockey. Yeah, no, there's a
hockey's a pretty big culture in Vancouver. It's pretty prominent.
It is, considering we actually. Little tidbit. Los Angeles had an NHL team before we did. Los Angeles came in, I think, in sometime in the '60s, where Vancouver was 1970 was the inaugural season. So. Considering a team without a championship too, I want to say we have a pretty dedicated fan base.
A little over dedicated, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean the 2011 riots.
Yeah, that was the thing that happened, and everything's mostly safe since then.
If there's anything I've learned really is again, I love Vancouver. I love the Canucks. So I mean that was the team I grew up.
The local Vancouver team.
Yeah, like even when they were doing terrible in the late '90s. Yeah, there were other, like I would always have a secondary team, like a playoff team, just because I knew the Canucks. And it was, I think it was like it was the Avalanche, Colorado. Because of Burnaby Joe Sakic. Because he's a local boy, right? So I was like, oh yeah, okay, Joe Sakic, he's the captain, and he's pretty cool, I guess. And then obviously, like, but I was still a Canuck fan. I got a Canucks jersey.
And you've been a fan all your life.
Pretty much.
Since I've known you, you're just like, you played hockey, you were in hockey, you were, living hockey. Yeah. And you're still, like, you actually, like, work for hockey.
Yeah. Oh, look, when they got an update, we just beat the Coyotes.
Oh.
That's the second worst team in the league and the worst team in the league beating. Or, sorry, the second, yeah, because I think Coyotes are the only team that's below us right now. I'm so glad we beat them. But anyway, no, hockey really. There is one thing I noticed with Vancouver, and again, I don't know what it's like in other cities.
Right.
It could be the same, but I've always felt, now that I've kind of focused a lot of hockey and like kind of looking at sports more from an adult perspective opposed to like college boy or even high school. I don't know.
From your own experience.
From my experience, I feel that with Vancouver, we are more of a bandwagon city.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Of it, like fans that will cheer only because we're winning.
Or because there's hype about it.
And there's hype about it, which makes sense, of course. It's like, who wants to watch a losing team? But I don't know. To me, what I've defined as being a sports fan in general, it's what's desired in a man is loyalty, right? So like you stick with your team through thick and thin. Doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to trash talk. If I'm frustrated, I can be frustrated. But
yeah,
at least what I've learned with the fans here is
bandwagon city.
Bandwagon city. I mean, and the thing is, what I realize too now is like
it's true. He's right.
With sports, it's not just. I mean, yes, of course, it comes down to win or lose, but there's so many moving parts. Like I feel like most people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Again, there is. I know there's a percentage of actual, like intellectual, dedicated Canuck fans,
hockey analysts,
right? But I also feel that with I'll say the average fan. I'm not going to say Canuck fans in general.
Okay.
Don't want to start a fight on your podcast.
Hey, no. Getting heat is fantastic. You know what they say, any response is a good response. So
that's true. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
There you go. So. Anyways.
No, what I was going to say is that I feel like the average fan kind of looks at hockey operations as a game of checkers, where it's really a game of chess. I know, like
so the surface level.
Exactly, like people are like, oh, this person, for example, this particular player doesn't do anything. Like, look how many goals and assists he has, like 0 points.
Okay.
But I mean, like the thing is, when you build a hockey team, of course you have, for those who are not like familiar with hockey in general, or even if you're a fair weather fan, or sorry, I shouldn't say that, an average fan that doesn't follow it too much. Again, a little bit of knowledge for you. Let me hit you with some knowledge.
Okay. You'll be the hockey guy.
Typically, you have your top 6 forwards, which are, the goal scorers, right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense. But then you have your bottom 6. Those are typically like what we call, grinders. Like those are the checking line. Those are the kind of guys that, they stop.
After the podcast, you're free to drop names if you want. You can talk so much smack about players.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, for example, like
I'm not gonna come here and beat you up.
For example, okay, let's start out like fresh. Like one of our rookies this year, Brock Besser. Of course, he's a goal scorer, so he's a top 6 forward, right? He's the guy that you're gonna send out there on the first and second line, like especially in the future. Right? Mm-hmm. And then you get all these better examples. Like back in the day, we had guys like like those kind of rougher. I don't want to use Rafi. Rafi Torres is the only guy I can think of that comes to mind because he threw in a lot of hits. But even guys like him and like Maxime Lapierre, they might not get the most points, but those are the guys that you send out there to play against, and like they call them like maybe shutdown guys, right?
Okay.
Those are the players you send out to stop people like Crosby or Taves or Kane from scoring. All those,
the checks.
Those, yeah. That's why it's called the checking line. Like those guys aren't out there to score. It's like they're out there to stop the other team from scoring. So it's more of like a defensive.
Oh, see, I'm actually learning new things.
Okay, yeah,
I thought just like you almost got all the best players who do everything, and then you'll win statistically speaking.
Yeah. See, like I mean,
but there's so much more to that.
And that's why, like with people that were I know some of my friends were discussing way back the 2014 Winter Olympic Games for hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we noticed there was a slight difference in when they were choosing players. It's like they were actually choosing. Like before, you would think like, okay, like with this roster, I'm going to choose all the top end players, right? But what they did, at least I noticed, is that they were selecting certain guys that were better for like the best shutdown guy.
Uh-huh.
And so they broke the team down into actual roles. It's like which would be the best guy for this particular role.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Like the team composition for like when you're picking your roster out, it's really
it's like a game of chess.
It's
you
a
can't
chess
just
game.
have everyone making one step. No,
it's not like, just like get the best players statistically speaking, and then you'll do well. Top scorers, top defenders, top goalies, whatever.
Yeah, that's why you set your pawns first. And then you got the queen that does everything. I'm not even a great chess player.
Well, I mean, there is depth. There's like, it's not just black and white. No. Or black versus red, rather.
Yeah, no, there's so much depth to it.
There really is like a psychology and like a method.
Exactly. And see, I feel like the average fan doesn't understand that.
I just learned of all this, like decision making in terms of management. It's like just now.
See, and I'll delve a little bit deeper in there at least with Vancouver. There's certain guys, like I know one of the guys that's our trade deadline is tomorrow. Monday, what's the date tomorrow?
26th.
26th. So, yeah, that's the trade deadline. I know we're going to move one of our players that he's like a veteran, so he's a little bit old. I think he's on the other side of 30, but he's
which is old apparently for hockey.
Yeah, no, he's second in
NHL
scoring.
Hockey.
He's second in scoring, and I know that when we trade him, a bunch of I already can feel the rage coming in the average fan. The average fan, why would you trade a guy who's like second in scoring? It's like because we're clearly not going to make the playoffs. It's better that we send him to a team that can make the playoffs, so they can send us, a prospect, or in other words, a younger player that can develop at a later time. Because
it's like hockey, an investment.
In hockey, obviously, the goal is every season is to improve your team, make the playoffs. But you get to a certain extent where, some teams, they go through something called a rebuild phase. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially what, I'm pretty sure that's what, I'm not even going to hide, like that's what Vancouver is doing right now. It's like we have a very deep prospect pool with a lot of younger guys coming up. But I feel like the people in Vancouver, we're very impatient, which makes sense. We're a big city. We're a big Canadian city.
Hustle, bustle.
And it's fast. Everyone wants to know, you missed the playoffs for more than 2 seasons. Everyone loses their minds, right? Like
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so everyone was like, oh my god, we suck. It's like, okay.
But we do suck.
No, we do. But the thing is, we have an excuse. And like, nothing against anyone that's listening from Edmonton. You have no excuse to suck right now.
Whoa!
You guys have Connor McDavid.
You hear that, Edmonton? We're coming for you.
They're still doing better than us, but they're only one spot above us.
Oh.
But they have they have an all-star. Like they have McJesus on their team. This kid will bring.
He's the next guy.
He will eventually bring the cup back to Edmonton at some point. But Edmonton has had 4 first overall picks, I think, maybe more. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. I don't want to look it up right now, but I know they've definitely had multiple first overall picks. They've made the playoffs once, which was last year, since like 2009 or something like that. Like it's crazy. Like you think they don't have traded away all their first overalls, but see, it kind of shows that it's like you can't just stack a team of prospects. But going back to what I was saying with the team, it's like we're Vancouver's clearly in a rebuild. So that said, again, the average fan in Vancouver does not understand that. So the second, I remember this is something I really didn't like. Where I was working on Robson Street, we ran into these tour guides. I don't know. I think they were doing it through a school. They were giving these Asian tourists. I think some were coming from Korea, Japan.
Right.
International. It might even been international students, if anything. And I remember I overheard them talking about the hockey team. They're like, "Yeah, we suck. We're the worst team." And in my head, I'm like, "Really, guys? It's like we dominated from 2009 till 2011." 2012.
They're reluctant.
Or no, I mean dominate, but we were a competitive team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't won a cup, but I feel like there are other teams in the league that haven't won a cup yet. But for some reason, Vancouver gets picked on, or like I feel like we're the harshest on our city, which really isn't fair. And that's why sometimes I hear what other Canuck fans say, and in my head I'm just kind of like, this is why people hate us so much. Because people like.
So there's a difference between like a Canuck fan and like a hockey fan.
Yeah, there's people that know a lot, and there's those that
Just look at the stats.
I was at a Canuck game the other day, and somebody was looking for a Thomas Vanek jersey, and the team store didn't have any. But to me, I know why. It's because when you think about it this way, I'm going into super. This is becoming like a hocky podcast now.
No, that's part of it. That's awesome.
But
I need a hockey guy. There's like two guys lined up after you.
And this is perfect.
We have a hockey podcast.
I'll be the hockey guy. Who's hockey?
Oh, there we go. He's got his own name.
But no, like Thomas Vanek, if those follow hockey, he's a player that was signed to a 1-year deal with the Canucks, and he is a veteran. Again, he's one of the older guys. Typically, when you sign a guy to a 1-year deal, it's not good for business to spend that much money on ordering a bunch of jerseys with this, right? Because he's one of those guys, and like you know what's gonna happen. So this is why I know that he's for tomorrow on the 26th. I'm pretty sure Vanek's gonna move somewhere. And then that's when people are gonna realize, like, oh, okay,
why did I get this?
This is why, it's like that's why they didn't have Vanek jerseys. And I knew that in the team store because I remember the person's like, this guy's second in scoring. How do you not have Vanek? I didn't want to say anything just because it's whatever. I'm at a hockey game. I'm not going to start a fight with some drunk hockey fan.
Which happens anyways.
Which happened, yeah. But in my head, I'm just like, he's going to be traded, and then you're going to complain and be like, I remember there's like one guy was arguing about he had bought a jersey of a player that we didn't trade. The player actually signed with a different team, but I overheard him getting all mad, and he was like demanding the staff to cover the cost. And I remember like I stepped in as a fan, and I was like, hey, I'm like, you know that the Canucks didn't trade Raymond, right? Like he actually just signed with a different team. So, and then for me, like this is, I mean, I have 2 jerseys of Canucks that don't even play with the team anymore. I have a Kessler jersey, and he like anyone who's a diehard Canuck fan, we still boo Kessler when he plays here because he's with the Ducks now.
No.
But he spent I think he had 5 years here or something, and he back in 2011, he pretty much, when we played Nashville in the second round, that was it wasn't the Canucks versus Nashville, it was Kessler versus Nashville. He single-handedly won that series. But we started losing. You wanted to go to a different team.
Fair enough.
That's just it's business, right?
It is, yeah.
But I still
hockey is also a business. NHL is also a business.
Exactly. And when I traded my jersey, I didn't, or when they traded him, I didn't go to the team store. I'm like, what the hell? No, I understood that. I knew that.
Respect out of the player.
And when I got his jersey done anyway, it was after he had just signed his 5-year contract. Even though he was traded, I think with 1 year left or something like that. But no, it was fine. I was like, I knew that. Even with I had a Higgins jersey. And he actually technically still had, I think, 1 more year on his contract before they sent him down or didn't tend or something like that. I think they eventually didn't tend him a contract. But for me, again, I'm aware of these things going in that that's the business of sports. Nobody stays on the team.
Professional league sports.
Yeah, it's like people are going to be traded. So, and there's still fans that don't understand that, and it's I feel bad for people that do understand, but it's
like you said. There's we're relatively bandwagon city, right? You go for who's hot, who's not.
One thing I'm gonna totally sidestep. Anyone listening from Vancouver that's into hockey jerseys did not I still see this all the time. Do not get a player jersey if that player did not play in that jersey. For example, everyone in Vancouver knows about the really ugly 1970s, early 80s Canucks Flying V jersey. I saw someone wearing that jersey with Luongo crested on the back. Don't do that. He didn't wear that jersey. So it's not authentic. You lose the authenticity. I mean, if you want to blow money on that, cool, fine, but just no, I'm sorry. That's the one opinionated thing, because to me, it's like you can't.
Have you seen that? So you've seen that before?
That kind of it all the time.
The cresting with the.
I've seen the current Canucks jersey with Linden on the back, which he did wear because he retired with that last jersey. But they had the captain letter C on there. I'm like, yeah, but guys, Linden wasn't the captain when he retired. He, even though Naslund offered to give the C back to Linden, Linden said no. He's like, you earned that. So that said, Linden with the current, the Vancouver Orca that says Vancouver across, the blue and green. Linden's last jersey, he had the alternate captain letter, but I still see people with letter C's on there. I'm like, it's not authentic. And I don't know, to me, that's important. I'm trying to think of an analogy which would make sense, but some people just don't seem to get it. For example, one really popular player, I don't know if you remember when the Canucks used to have their black, yellow, and red jerseys, or orange.
The 90s.
Like the 90s, the skate logo, right? One of the popular guys was this guy named Gino Ojic, and somebody wanted a Gino Ojic. I remember, I think somebody was asking another staff member when I was at the game, they wanted to get it done in the current jersey, and the staff member said, well, we can't because he never wore that jersey. And I remember the guy was just like, well, it's like he's forever a Canuck. I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. Like,
that wasn't what he wore.
No, he didn't wear that. Like, you don't stick like a...
It's not historically accurate.
Like, you wouldn't put a Ford engine... Like, you wouldn't put, like... I don't know. I don't know if this is a good analogy. Like, for example, let's say you had a car and you had, like a Ford engine in there, but you had the body kit of a Lamborghini. Is it a Lamborghini? No, it's not. It's a crappy car that doesn't...
I think that's a really deep...
Does that make sense?
I think that's a whole other conversation together in terms of cars.
Yeah.
Because that is actually what a lot of manufacturers actually do.
Oh, man.
They use different parts from different...
Oh, I understand that. Like, I know, like Lexus, that's a Toyota engine.
Yeah.
But see, that makes sense. Lexus is owned by Toyota, and, like, that's, like, their step up, right? So... But I don't know. It's just...
It is hard to define and, like, hard to compare to something if you don't really...
Yeah.
Would you say it's disrespectful to the player?
In a sense, yes, because it's like I don't know, like, for me, if I was a hockey player, I'd want, if someone bought a jersey, I'd want my name going on
what you wore.
Something that I actually wore, right? I mean, I guess maybe you could even use cosplay as an example. Like, you wouldn't... Although it would be pretty badass if you gave Luke Skywalker, like, a double-edged green lightsaber.
Oh, that's an interesting way of putting it. Like, he never used that.
But at the same time, I wouldn't... Like, if I saw cosplay, I was like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
But that's definitely not canon.
I mean,
so
it's not canon, but it's also, like, it's a fictional...
It's already a fictional...
But yeah, so, like, I guess, like, using the cresting of players...
Yeah, they
didn't wear that in that era.
To me, it's all about authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like, what's important. There's no because when it comes down to it, it's like they never wore that jersey, so it's like putting a Wayne Gretzky on a Canucks jersey. To me,
that's just
Even though
I don't know what to say.
But people can make the argument, well, it's different because Gretzky never played for the team. It's like, okay, no, yeah, I know exactly, but it's the same thing with technically what you could say, like with other players. For example, who's still... technically, like, Ojic was already retired.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's players that go to different teams. Or, for example, like with... sorry, I'm like a little fumbling on words. Because, it is hard to explain or try and compare, like,
No worries.
I have such a, like, it's just, for me, it's just, I don't know, it makes
just rattles you.
It rattles me when I see something that's not authentic.
Just, like, cringe at the thought.
Yeah, it's like, it's somebody put, I don't know, Luke Skywalker in a freaking, like, if they had his rebel outfit, like, in the snowspeeder.
Or if he used, like, a TIE fighter.
No, even though that would be pretty badass. That would be pretty... But, again, when it comes down to it, it's authenticity.
Ultimately, at the end of the day. And you have a lot of fans who would do that, who would kind of break that kind of, consistency.
Yeah. Some people go, it's cool, but it's just, I know I've seen other blogs too, and even I have some friends, and I've met some people at games that are full-on season ticket members, and they're the chill ones that understand. They're like, oh yeah, no, like, it is a hockey purist thing, but he's like, I agree, I think it's dumb to put the name of someone on a jersey if they never wore it. I do know that the only exception, obviously, if let's say your last name does happen to be Ojic or whatever, or Linden, then we can't say no. But, like, that one I understand. Like, but I know
it's a rare occasion.
I know for a fact that, like, because I know one of our goalies from last year, his name was Miller. Miller is, like, probably one of the most common surnames. So obviously, if someone wants Miller but they want a different number, I don't know, as a customer, I'd be pretty mad if you would say, like, oh yeah, we already have a player named Miller, so you have to get his number. I'd be like, hell no, man, I want my own name on there.
Hey, yeah, that's the thing you can do, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing that'll go off on a tangent, and it's like,
No, but like you see, like a lot of people. So every time on transit, SkyTrains, buses, the big game, it's on tonight or wherever. Mm-hmm. You see all those hockey fans. You never know what kind of hockey fan they are. And
no,
they kind of just buy jerseys because like it's hot, they're winning. Yeah, it's it's cool to like hockey and the Canucks. Or if they're like like someone like yourself who really understands what's going on behind the scenes, the logic, the history. Right?
See, funny story. There was one time I was looking at jerseys, and I was kind of like browsing around because it had been a while since I bought a jersey. I'm like, I should probably get a current player. Mm-hmm. One of the guys I bought a T-shirt already is a Brock Besser, but there's another guy there too. And to be fair, this guy definitely he was not not the brightest light bulb
in the shed,
janitor's shed, but he. First of all, he pointed at these two name and numbers. He's like, oh, wow, I guess the Canucks have picked up. Because I could tell he hadn't watched in a few years because he only recognized the Sedin twins. But he pointed at these two jerseys and he was like, oh, I see they're starting to get more Russians on the team. And for you Vancouver fans that will definitely laugh at this, the two players he pointed at were Virtanen and Eriksson. Eriksson is a common Swedish last name, and Virtanen's from Abbotsford. But even then, to be fair, I think it's a Finnish, has a Finnish origin, Virtanen. But still, it's like I don't know what, like the guy, he was an idiot. I'm just gonna go off and be. I didn't want to. Again, I don't like to get in arguments with sports fans because at the end of the day, you're arguing about entertainment. But
is it though?
Yeah, it is. But like, I still feel to me, it's like it does make me angry when I know that there's someone that does not have the right amount of knowledge. I know that sounds kind of wrong. Elitist
versus like filthy casuals.
But I also, for me, it's like I don't want that person to look stupid because I'm already very.
Because why would you do that, right? No. I mean, it's just like for no reason, unless you were like some kind of.
And then one of the guys, because I was looking at Besser, and he's like, "Oh, who's that guy, number 6?" And I'm like, "Oh, Brock Besser." I'm like, "Oh, where's he from? That's a weird last name." I'm like, "Oh, I know it's like I think it's German background, but I know for a fact he's American." And the guy just looks at me and he's like, "Oh, I bet everyone boos that guy because he's from the States." And I looked at that. This is the only time where I kind of got mad and decided to school this guy. I was like, Brock Besser? This guy, the number 1 scorer on our team that also made the All-Star game and got MVP at the All-Star game. First rookie to do that since Mario Lemieux. That guy. You think people hate him? And he's just like, oh. And I was just like, yeah, no, he's pretty popular. I'm pretty sure people love him.
And I kind of like it's like it just switched going. It's like, and then excuse me.
No, yeah, but then he kind of was just like, no. I mean, and then he tried to sidetrack, and this is gonna go into more of like culture in Vancouver too. He tried to sidetrack, and he's like, oh no. It's like, I mean, I love everyone, regardless of their background. Like I'm a pastor's son, and I'm like, okay. And he just kind of looked at me, and he's like, yeah, I love everyone of all backgrounds. He looks at me, and for me. People don't know what I look like, but I know I'm Indonesian. I have a very tan complexion. Some people think
very handsome man.
Thank you. And some people think that I can pass as Mexican, Hispanic, whatever. I can even pass as native if I like let my hair grow out or something. I'm very versatile. But anyway, the guy looks at. But one thing I can definitely confirm is that I'm definitely not Chinese. And the guy looks at me and he's like, I love everyone of all backgrounds. Like, and he looks at me and he says, like, you're probably Chinese. And I'm like, no, man.
Look nothing like it.
And he's like, you're probably. I was like, no, I'm not. And he's like, oh, what are you? I'm like, I'm Indonesian. He's like, see, I love Indonesian. I'm like, and then he started going.
All kinds of people in the city.
Pro tip: don't start a statement with, I'm not racist, but.
I'm racist.
But that's exactly what he said. He's like, oh, I'm not racist, but. I think people from China should go back to their hometown, like go back to their country. And I kind of looked at him. I'm like, are you serious, man? Like, this is weird. Like, I mean, I was shopping. I shouldn't have spent that much time. I easily could have left.
Right.
But what I do remember, I just remember I'm like, no, I have to. This guy, I know he's really stupid, but I'm like, I'm going to try and make him feel bad. He's kind of. But, like, I'm not going to yell at him. I'm going to kind of explain to him, like, for me, if I'm that angry, I'll actually be more condescending. And that's how you can tell that I'm actually pissed and trying to get...
That's popular to do nowadays, just appear to be condescending.
I know, that way I feel like people definitely don't listen to you when you start yelling at them. Like,
it escalates.
I've been yelled at a lot of times. friends, and this is why I don't learn, because people yell at me. So I'm like, I'm not going to listen to you if you're going to yell.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. It's understandable. Let's just take a quick break here, and we'll get more with H00t, and we'll see how that goes.